So, context of my talk, I'll tell you a bit about RCNDE, what it is, and then I'll talk about this thing, which I think is quite an important thing that we've done, which could be something that we could replicate in this network here, which is this forward industrial vision, obviously, in this case for NDE, rather than for acoustics as a whole. And then I'll tell you a bit about the networking bit of RCNDE specifically. So, what is it? Well, it's a collaboration between universities and industry, very much like this. Obviously, in our case, the objective is to do NDE and make an impact on NDE research and training. That's quite important. Those are the two sides of what we're trying to do. So we were first established in 2003, which is over 10 years ago now, and we're on our third tranche of funding, which is set to continue until 2020. And you can see there that the scale of activity from of the EPSRC funding, and rather critically, it's matched with industry funding as well. It's always been, and will, and is set to be in the future, a collaboration between industry and academia. So there are these industrial members. I'll tell you about what the members and associates are in a minute, from across the sectors that use NDE. And then there are the university partners, of which there are 6 listed there. It's led out of Imperial College, and then there's the others, myself and others at Bristol, Strathclyde, Manchester, Warwick, and Nottingham. So those are the group of us that are collaborating. As far as EPSRC are concerned, we're run as a strategic partnership, and so it's a partnership between industry, the industrial members, and EPSRC, with the academics doing the research part of it. So that's how it's seen by EPSRC. The full members, who are the people that pay in a substantial amount to fund the research programme, are listed here. So the red and blue names at the end are the industrial members, and on the left you'll see the sectors that we're covering: aerospace, power generation, nuclear power generation as well, defence, some public sector organisations, oil and gas and manufacturing. So you can see it's got a broad industrial remit. If you look, most names appear under aerospace, nuclear, and oil and gas in particular. So they're the areas that seem to be particularly keen on investing in this area. So all the red things, by the way, are the people that's their primary interest, and the blue is their secondary interest. The membership changes from year to year. You'll see there at the time of writing this presentation, ExxonMobil were on the point of joining. Each year, generally, we get 1 member maybe leaving and a new member joining, or possibly 2 joining. But the membership has been about 15 ever since the inception of ever since the start of RCNDE. So alongside those members that pay into the pot of research funding, are a group of associate members who pay a relatively small fee, and what they're paying for is to be part of the network, really. So they don't pay into the research pots. They're not running the research programme, but they hear about the results before others, and they're also involved in networking opportunities that we set up that I'll tell you about in a minute. So 38 of them at the time of writing there. So what we're trying to do is, as it says there, we've got to have a vision. All these things have got to have a vision. We want to be a world-leading centre for excellence in NDE research through active partnership with the industrial user community. And okay, it's all very great. I'm sure we definitely believe in that. The guiding principles: we're trying to do world-class, very good research to industrial benefit, but also have an impact on the profession. And that means training people, basically, and filling skills gaps, which I think is one of the main reasons we've been funded for so long. Okay, so that's what RCNDE is. What we've done over the years, and it's a developing document, is developed an industrial vision document. So it's got a 5-year bit, a 10, so it's vision 5, 10, 20. So what's going to happen in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, and 20 years' time. And this document might not seem too amazing to some of you, I don't know, but it certainly seems amazing to me as someone who is involved in NDE for quite a long time now, and getting an understanding as an academic, getting understanding of what industry wanted in the short term was pretty challenging. Getting an understanding of what they wanted in 10 years and 20 years was basically impossible. But through hard work and a lot of collaboration, a lot of networking, we've got to the point now where we have got this document, and it's refreshed periodically, and we publish it as well. This particular, the latest one was published this year in an NDE journal. And obviously, we've been going longer than 5 years, so we've had to deliver on some of these things as well. So we've had 2 lots of 5-year visions and even a 10-year vision that have come to pass. And I guess our industrial funders must be believing that we are indeed delivering on those things. I think is true. Maybe not quite in the way that they set out at the beginning, but we've certainly delivered a lot of useful research that's now out there and being used, which is kind of quite important. The only way these things work in the long term is if stuff actually gets done and then gets out and saves or makes money for the companies involved. Probably, I guess, for the academics here, the really exciting bit is this stuff in the 20-year box, because that's the stuff that aligns most closely with EPSRC funding. And so when we are pitching to EPSRC, it's that a bit of the 10-year vision, but that 20-year vision that we're pitching to try and fill in the research gaps on. So that's the industrial vision. From it, we can draw out certain things which shape our research programme, because this is more than a network, although networking is an important part of it. It's more than a network in that we've actually got a lot of funding to do research and to do training as well, but the networking is an important bit of it. So anyway, from that vision we take out, these are just some examples, there's many of them, but I just wanted to put up some headlines. There's a consensus that we want to understand basically through modelling the performance and reliability of NDE, methods, make better links between NDE and the structural integrity community. They're the community that know about how long structures are going to last before they fail. They've traditionally been quite disconnected fields, so we've been working on trying to connect them better so that the NDE is done with a better understanding as to its implications for the life of the structure, and vice versa. The structural integrity people can understand more about the nature of the NDE data, and they're basically both probabilistic issues, and kind of connect those probabilistic issues is a really challenging thing that we're has yet to resolve, but still a very interesting thing that's come out of this. Another thing is that there's now, I think, and it's taken a long time in the coming, but a genuine desire by industry to see this field of SHM become more of an industrial reality, and there's a few examples of that starting to happen already. So a move to try and do the things that would be NDE, where you'd go, you'd make a measurement, you'd try to diagnose what's going on, but then you'd come away and then you'd come back again in 6 months' time, try and move away from that to move to a continually monitoring situation. So anyway, they're just some things that have come out of that strategic plan and form part of our research programme. So those strategic things feed some this is getting a bit more detailed now about the various themes we're running at the moment: enhanced imaging, accurate characterisation, new techniques and permanent monitoring. I'll not dwell too much on the detail of the research that we're doing. I wanted more to get across the concept of that industrial vision feeds all of this, and that's because we are set up as a collaboration, a strategic partnership between industry and EPSRC. So our whole raison d'etre is to solve industrial problems. And because of the fact that it's a collaboration between academia and industry, we're able to, I think, genuinely say, and EPSRC funded as well, that we cover this whole spectrum from what we're calling strategic core research, which basically means the long-term stuff that EPSRC funds, to targeted research, which would be a mixing between EPSRC and industry funding, to more industry-specific, maybe Innovate UK funded type of projects at the other end. And really quite crucially, although it's a separate bit of funding, but is our doctoral training scheme as well. Because one of the things that's been said time and time again, it was the case 10 years ago, and because the industry's got bigger and I guess the skills are growing of the people, that there's a skills shortage in this area. I think it's true across the whole of engineering that there's a skills shortage, but in NDE there is a skills shortage, and it's not just there's a skills shortage across the board, but in particular there's a skills shortage at the high skilled end, which is what doctoral training obviously delivers. Oh, and there we go. Hey presto, I pressed the button about doctoral training. I think I've said a lot of that, but we have after a number of years there was this call for doctoral training schemes, and we applied and were awarded one of those. It's been renewed as well. Obviously, we all, like everybody else, we're going to be rebidding to try and get that funding extended. I think the reason why we might get it extended, we'll see if we do or not. That's a red card, isn't it, there? But anyway, I think we're very near. Okay, well, I'll not tell you why we'll get that funded again. I want the last slide is the most important slide because it's specifically about networking. Here are all the networking things that we do. There are these management board meetings where we manage the research programme. We have an annual review, which is a meeting rather like this with 100-odd people, not just the RCNDE members, but a whole lot of other people as well, run like a conference or symposium. Then there are project-specific review meetings. There are technology transfer events where in particular we try to involve our associate members in those. And then there are topic-specific seminars and workshops which are run, just like any, you might imagine, we had one recently on nonlinear ultrasonic methods for ND, for example. But all of these things are places where the academics and industrialists meet and build up trust between each other. And that's really rather crucial. One thing we found quite important in the early days was to make sure that some of these events, and it's still I think important, make sure that at least some of these events are done under the umbrella of a non-disclosure agreement, because that allows industry to be more forthcoming about their problems, and they can talk about their problems in the knowledge that the academics are going to not disclose that information to other people, or even the other industrialists won't disclose that to other people. So that's been quite important in building trust. And it's that trust that's allowed us to come up with, as well as things under an undisclosure umbrella, a public-facing vision 10, 20 years that's shared across the industry, across all those different industrial sectors. So within that industry document is information about what each of the sectors feels is their industrial vision as well. Networking is crucial, but the networking here is just a means to the end, and the end here is to deliver the research and to deliver the training that's needed to the industry. Obviously here we've got a network, and I hope we can turn this network into something that does research or forms research programs and forms training initiatives as well, like CDTs, for example. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.